Hello, hello. It's guided run of the Most High, and because I'm going to talk about the Most High. So, who is the Most High? Well, let's look at this for example. Let's go before creation itself. Oh, there was a being, but I say being because you can call him Most High or a being. There's nothing else to call him at that point. In future, he will give himself some name, but not now. So there is no time. And this being is so powerful that the words themselves lose meanings before him. So any word you can think of or describe him doesn't go there to describe him. Then you look around. So what is the closest word that can describe him? So I will say nothingness. It's a word that could possibly describe him, but again, nothingness is not empty. There is always something. Like zero isn't a real number if you go in mathematics, that is. Okay. So this being suddenly one day, I will say one point, Restless once had a thought, and as he thought, like, what can I do? Let's see. It's been boring. He was feeling bored, this being. So, as he finds out that he could create stuff, like if you thought of something and it became reality. So, as you know, because this being was bored, uh, he thought of creating space. So, he could see anything that like move or see what is going on. It's like a black canvas. The more he went, the bigger the canvas got. And it was fine. He played with it and he was enjoying himself. But after, like, there was nothing went, so he suddenly felt bored. So then he had a brilliant idea. If time exists, so then he created time. The only time was created because the space he created, he could not play with the space because without time the space wasn't moving. So then he created time. Now the black canvas got really started working. So they the more he went right, the canvas grew. The more he went left, the canvas grew up, down, like either way it started growing. And he tried to stretch it out as long as he could. So it's a blank canvas, so the more he stretched, the more it got bigger and bigger as time went. It got bigger and bigger, and at a certain point, after now time exists, he really got bored again. So now he was like, okay, I have endless space and endless time. Okay, what can I do now? Uh, he was bored. He was thinking about it. Then he thought, maybe let's create sounds. So he then started word. You can say sound exactly the first word. Uh, then he started to create a pen. Uh, so the pen could write down the word he said. So that's when the pen started writing. And he did that because he had a lot of things to say. So he was saying, and the pen would record it, and when he got bored, he could read the stories, and then he will get rid of the boredom. That was his initial thought at that point of time. But suddenly he discovered after thousands and millions and billions of years, it got bored. So he was thinking of new thing, but the work started feeling boring. So it's not that the ideas keep boring, but the words started keep boring, and the space and time was endless. So again, he was bored, lonely, he didn't know what to do. Then he found out that he could create objects, and in then he thought maybe if there was another of him and he could talk with him, and that should solve this boringness and loneliness. But when he tried to do it, he created it. Uh, but when he thought about moving in, he created a body. At that point, he didn't have a body. But he found out that when he create a body and move into the body, his conscious move into the body, so he again will feel lonely and boring. So that didn't work. So he destroyed it, came back to when he was without a body, and he started thinking. So that didn't work. He still feel bored, still lonely. Like what to do? Like now he was giving ideas, but again, as time goes by, it feels lonely and boring at the same time. Then he got an idea. So, what if there were beings like him who could also do what he does? But as he found out that he was too powerful and he could not create beings like himself because there'd be just a copy of him and make it move, he would have to switch bodies, so that's not gonna work. It's like having two clothes. As he created time, he could easily see what would happen in the future. It's like reading a book, you could easily skip to the middle of the book and the end of the book, but if you don't and start reading the book, you will enjoy the book. So, as time passed, he didn't know what to do, so he thought about creating something like him but weaker version. So, it was not him but a weaker version that could thought and do things. So then there was a question if if he can do this, but he thought maybe let's try creating. Let's not read the future because I'm going to get bored eventually. So he thought let's focus on the time and let's not read the future and let's create these beings and let's see what happens. Because if he saw the future, it will again be the same old lonely and boringness because he would lose fun of the process. So slowly started creating beings, and that's it for today. The story will be continued in the future.